my wife somehow let me buy a really expensive Sasquatch costume, and reel I did hit 1 million views.
Just kept seeing these dirt roads and these trails, and I'm like, just get out here, like just ride out here, and you're gonna have a good time.
This is the Valley Rally Podcast.
We'll see if we can make that happen. No promises. Awesome. All right. I'm stoked here. I'm with John and Colin from Ragged Roads Moto. If folks don't know what that is, get on your Instagrams and look them up. Ragged Roads Moto. It's a pretty cool little moto company, yet to be defined, as we'll discuss in a moment. But man, you guys, like I was saying before in a little preamble, I really love the content you guys are putting out. Especially like the David Attenborough kind of esque ADV, the types of riders that are out there. That's super, like that. I think that was the first one I saw. I've loved all of them ever since. Like they're bang on, they're spot on. I certainly identify with a couple of those individuals for sure. Know quite a few of the other ones. But yeah, so. Let's talk about what Ragged Roads Moto is. Like how did it start, and what are you guys up to right now? Like let's get into that a little bit.
Ooh, this is deep. Hopefully we have a lot of time, because we're also got to figure out what we are. So we might be talking that out. But I guess it almost starts with Colin. He ran a YouTube channel in Nova Scotia called Trail Trash ADV.
Very classy name, as I'm sure you all are aware, Trail Trash ADV. Ran a YouTube channel in Nova Scotia, and I happened to reach out to a company that John was doing some work for. They connected us. We met in Nova Scotia. John had moved from Port Renfrew, BC, and long story short, he dragged me back to BC with him, to Vancouver Island, and it has just been an absolutely awesome spot. Like great riding out here, beautiful. You can ride year round, like just unreal.
Yeah, but during that process, I was like, maybe we should rename this YouTube channel to something a little catchier, and came up with Ragged Roads Moto. Kind of stemmed from where I moved to in Nova Scotia, was called East of the Ragged Islands. That was the actual name of the town. Very Nova Scotia town name that makes no sense. And we lived on East Ragged Road, so I was just like, oh yeah, Ragged Roads Moto, that'll work. That'll be a catchy name, a little smoother than Trail Trash ADV. So we went with that, and plan on getting the YouTube channel going and the Instagram account, and also made some merch to go with it.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, I was looking at the site. So like when I look at your site, there's like the crush cap. Is that kind of like the keystone of all your products? Was that like the first one?
Yeah, that was an idea that I came up with, because I have terrible hair and I always wear a hat.
I don't have that problem.
Yeah, you could get sunburnt though, so you might want to get a crush cap. Yeah. Colin definitely doesn't have that problem. He's always got perfect hair. Even like he takes his helmet off and just has this perfect flow every time. And I'm like, dude, we've been riding all day. How?
Yeah, hate those guys.
Yeah, I wanted a hat that I could take on motorcycle adventures, and not destroy, because you get a firm brim, and how do you pack it and crush it and you destroy it. So actually I got one back here. So we made these hats that are just totally packable. The brims are soft. You can throw them in your tank bag and throw them in your jacket pocket, and then pop them out, and you're good to go. The
nice.
peak survives the crush. So that was one of the kind of many things that we do, which is also making it confusing to us of like, well, what are we? Are we an apparel company? Are we content creators? We're just kind of like a little bit of everything. But the crush cap was a cool little product, and it sold for us pretty well over the last year. And we just started working on version 2 to fix some of the issues of the version 1. So that's super exciting. Like,
yeah, man. Where did you guys like end up? Like, where did you guys start with your love affair with motorcycles? Because you guys seem like pretty deep into it. Like most of the listeners here, we're huge bike addicts. So where did that start for you guys? Was that like an early thing, late life thing?
Let Colin go first.
Yeah, sure. So when I had just graduated high school, I just wanted to be cool, like many people, you know. Um, so I started looking at what bikes were affordable in the area, and what a motorcycle course costs. And I was like, oh no, this is far too much money for me. I'll teach myself to ride by watching YouTube videos. So I taught myself to ride watching YouTube videos. I bought a Honda CBR 125, and then I was hooked. Like that was it. So did that for a couple years, traded up to a 650, basically an SV 650. There was a brand called Hyosung that was in Canada for a while. I'm not sure if any of those bikes are still around, but yeah, I was riding that. And then I trained to become a paramedic, and I was driving all over the province for all these different things. And I just kept seeing these dirt roads and these trails. And I'm like, I want to ride down those. I don't want to be riding on the street anymore. Like I'm kind of getting bored of this. And so I traded those bikes for my first BMW F650 GS. Beat the hell out of that on the trails. Put it in a lot of mud holes. Did a lot of pushing, a lot of hauling. Made a lot of mistakes in places that I probably shouldn't have taken it. And then eventually I decided to buy a V-Strom 650 of all bikes back in 2017. And that's when I decided to start this Trail Trash ADV YouTube channel. I just wanted to share the trails I was going on. I wanted to make it more accessible to people so that they knew what they were getting into for reasons as I described earlier, just getting in over my head or getting into things that I wasn't quite expecting. So it was just a GoPro on the side of my helmet. And apparently people really liked to see me beat the hell out of this V-Strom off-road because it ended up with, a few thousand subscribers. Ended up creating a motorcycle guide, an off-road motorcycle guide for the Cabot Trail back in 2022, I think was the first year that came out.
Nice.
And it's just kind of grown from there. Yeah, it's so nice to get out in nature, challenge yourself, face that adversity and overcome it. And you meet great people along the way.
You talking about me?
Yeah, I was talking about you. I know.
Oh, weird. Yeah. For me, it was definitely later in life. I had always been super into mountain biking. And when we moved to Port Renfrew, there wasn't really bike trails here. And so that hobby kind of fell off. And then my wife, of all people, decided she wanted to get a quad. And I had no interest in a quad, but I was like, well, maybe I'll get like a little dirt bike or something so I can go with you. So I picked up a 1976 Yamaha DT100 as my first bike.
Nice.
Yeah, that I kind of regret selling it. That thing was so awesome. And this was in 2020, I think. So not too many years ago. And rode the piss out of it. Quickly discovered that every hour of riding that bike was about 2 hours of working on that bike. What a way to learn how to ride. And after that, I ended up with a Himalayan 400.
Oh, cool.
Just like the closest dealer to us was a Royal Enfield dealer. And I was like, oh yeah, that bike looks cool. And this dealership, Kenco in Stook, is super awesome. Ken, who owns it's an absolute legend. So bought a Himalayan and started pushing it around through the trails right here. Yeah, had a moment where I realized I was just riding everywhere full throttle on it. And the throttle to me was a light switch. And I was like, maybe it's time for something a little bigger. So I went with a 2022 Norden 901.
Oh, yep.
Which definitely filled the bill for more power than the Himalayan by a lot. I think I left the dealer and I did a wheelie because I was still riding the same way of just throttle straight to wide open, which is not the way to do it. But the dealership, I think, was like, wow, that guy can ride. Meanwhile, I was like, whoo, this is more power than I've ever had. And then just recently sold the Norden. There was maybe a few issues with it here and there, maybe a few engines.
Spoilers, if you look up Norden 901 issues online, if you Google it, you may find John as the first post.
Yeah, I had a lot of issues with that bike. So yeah, that'll be my first and last Austrian built bike. Did love how it rode, love the ergonomics, love the power, but it's no fun owning a bike that's just broken down all the time.
I have heard that there were some issues with the earlier Nordens. I mean, I got a couple buddies riding them now, and nobody's had any issues with those. Lots of guys on the orange bikes, the orange equivalent, and no engine issues at all. I would encourage you to come back into the fold at some point, because they are amazing motorcycles, as you know. And I personally, like, I've owned nothing but European bikes my entire life, save for one Japanese bike, and I've had no issues with any of these crazy fucking ludicrous things people are experiencing. So I really do think that you just got a really bad batch, unfortunately.
Yeah. I 100% think I got a lemon, which is okay. Like it happens, but it's more the way that, like, I'd call the dealer being like, I have a pretty serious coolant leak. And they'd just be like, oh, that's normal. You just have to regularly top off the coolant. And I was like, no, I don't think that's normal. But yeah, every problem was like that. Like, oh, I'm burning about a liter of oil per every 1,000 kilometers. And they're like, oh, that's within spec. So that's okay. And I'm like, oh, that's a lot of oil. So yeah, I think for now, my Austrian bikes will be put on hold, even though I do respect what they've built. And I don't think there's a better riding adventure bike than that 890 platform in terms of the ergonomics and power. But I just don't see the point of owning an adventure bike that you can't go on an adventure on in fear of breaking down. So that got sold and picked up a used Tenere 700, which it starts on 2 cylinders every time, which is pretty cool. It doesn't leak coolant, doesn't burn oil. Like, it's really weird. I just ride the bike. I don't ever have to fix anything. So
the Tenere is a sick bike too, man. I love those things.
Yeah. It's been a cool experience to have both bikes, because they're two bikes that get compared against so much, and they are so different in every way. And it's like,
well, that Tenere is more like a dirt bike with a big gas tank, is it not? Like, compared to like a bigger Austrian, adventure bike.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely significantly less power. Like, you're dropping 200 cc's, but it feels like more than that. But its ability to get traction, like the back wheel wants to hook up, versus on the Norden, once you start spinning that back wheel, there's no stopping it. It just spins till you reach the other side of the earth. So that it's like, you're giving up some power, but you're gaining traction. So it almost feels like on dirt, that less power you have ends up being more, because you're actually putting it to the dirt. But yeah, on the street, I find it like almost a bit of a boring bike after coming off the 890 platform. It's just like, yeah, the power's not there.
Gotta stay on the gravel, man.
It's top. Yeah, exactly. It is top heavy though.
Yeah. I
think I've dropped the Tenere more in like the first week I owned it than I ever dropped the Norden, because once it starts going, it's just like, yep, let her go.
Well, it's a Japanese bike, so it'll take a beating. So I think you're good.
Yeah, we're good there. And then we actually both have a bike each on the way. We're going to ride Kobe 450 rallies for the summer.
Nice. Yeah. So I just talked with, oh my God, I'm such an asshole. I can't remember his last name. Jordan, the fella, our Canadian guy who just finished the Dakar on the Cove.
Yeah.
Talked to him at the bike show in Toronto. Awesome dude. And they had his bike there, and very, very cool bikes. I do like those. And you know what? Like, I'm impressed with what they're able to do. And a 450 is like such a great little power plant. Like, for doing that gnarly kind of ADV style riding, that's like a perfect. I don't know why KTM doesn't put out a 450 rally bike, like, for people that don't want to spend 40,000 euros.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to me that it took this little Chinese company to finally do it. And, we've had lots of people like, oh, you sure you want a Chinese bike? And, after my experience with KTM and Husqvarna, I'm like, well, it can't be worse than that. And, at least Kobe's building the bike we've all been asking for, like 600-kilometer fuel range as a 450 that we can take anywhere. Like even the Norden and the T7, which I have the big fuel tank on, we turn around in spots because we're like, whoa, we're close on fuel. Like it's not worth the risk. And with the Koves, I don't think that's ever going to be a thought.
Well, you got that. Are you guys getting an extra tank on the back?
You can. That comes standard.
Does it come standard? Oh, nice.
Yeah. 8 gallons. 8 gallons of fuel, 600 kilometers of range. Yeah.
That's pretty dope. That's cool.
And a bike that, to me, it's the perfect Vancouver Island bike. And I put my deposit down on it for a year and a half ago. So I was just like, yep, this is the bike. And then last fall, I took Colin up to the Cove dealer, Tough City Power Sports in Nanaimo. And I was like, you got to ride this bike. Because Colin's like, oh, I think I'll do like maybe a DRZ and modify it. And I was like, you gotta go ride the Cove.
We had nightly conversations the entire summer that I was out here about, potentially getting a DRZ and kitting it out, or like maybe getting like a used KTM. And like, we just did this like every night, to the point that like John's wife would walk into the room and just like immediately spin around and walk out. She's like, I've heard this 1,000 times before. But I still had that question of like, okay, like what about reliability? Because it's especially with what John had experienced with the Husky and where it wasn't really a proven brand, a quote unquote proven brand yet. And then I went and test drove this thing, and like, yeah, you know what? It's not a whole lot to scream about on the pavement. But then you take this thing off road, and it's just like, oh, this is everything I want. And I was really hoping I wasn't gonna like it, but I did. And so now there's 2 Koves coming.
It's the first bike that off the showroom floor, the suspension just feels perfect. Like I don't think there's much to do to this bike other than put luggage on it and go, which is just so crazy after like all the other bikes we've had. It's just like heavy mods before you even take it out, and these are ready. So we're stoked. And I actually just heard from Josh, the Cove distributor, that they released them from port yesterday, so they're getting closer.
Nice. Now, Colin, I wanted to go back just a little bit. Talk like I was curious from your experience with your first YouTube channel. Did that experience kind of help you guys when you're making the content? Like, did it make the process a little easier and kind of had a bit better feel for what you were doing, or how'd that work?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, going from free video editing software and like just hours of messing with this stuff, trying to get it to work, and then all of a sudden to have this pro suite available, and like a guy like John who can just get it. Like, he's super humble about it, he'll never brag about it, but he's a professional photographer. Like, he's worked for Red Bull and like just all kinds of crazy stuff. So like he'll get these amazing shots, and then to get it into the editing software and be able to play around with it. Now I'm like, dude, like this next season, like the stuff we're going to be able to create is going to be amazing. So certainly having the YouTube channel originally helped me probably more with like what not to do. But I think there was certainly some value to be gained there in the first one.
Cool. Yeah, well, I didn't know that John was such a professional. That's good to know.
Oh, I wouldn't say professional. I'm just pretty good at pushing a button. It's like, it's a big button on your index finger. You can't miss it. And if you push it enough, you'll get a decent shot here and there.
That's what he keeps telling me. I keep trying. I don't get the same result. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple other dials too, but yeah, the main one's that big one in front. Can't miss it.
Right on. So is John, is that kind of like your background? Like, where you've always kind of been with like visual media type background?
Yeah, I went to school for map making of all things, and realized I didn't want to spend my life sitting in front of a computer, and ended up through a long story and chances of events becoming a photographer without that ever being the plan. And I think I was in denial about it for a while too, even though that was like my full-time job, my only income. And yeah, pretty crazy photography career, starting off in editorial for magazines. I don't know if you remember those, but they're like these paper book things that got shipped every month.
Yeah, I do remember those. I
Yeah.
might have a few kicking around here somewhere.
Yeah. So like the first several years of my photography career, tons of editorial stuff for action sports magazines, a lot of whitewater kayaking in the Ottawa Valley, a lot of shoots for that. All the top pros visit the Ottawa River every summer. And yeah, that kind of expanded into other sports, as well as being in Ottawa. I ended up doing a bunch of political stuff as well. And
That must have been super exciting.
It wasn't my favorite thing, but it paid the bills. I'd much rather go out on an adventure with a rad group of athletes and adventurers and shoot that. But every now and then you had to meet up with a politician and take a portrait.
Amazing.
Yeah. So, and that slowly, as magazines faded away, I transferred into commercial photography. So shooting for companies, a lot in the whitewater kayaking industry at first, a bit into surfing and SUP, a little bit of mountain biking and a little bit of skiing, and yeah, hadn't shot any motorcycle stuff until I got my own motorcycle and started shooting it. And the kind of one funny part of when I got my motorcycle, because before this I was whitewater kayaking full time and always dealing with like sponsorships with that. And a lot of the sports I've done, always like dealing with companies. And I was like, you know what? Motorcycles are going to be for me. I'm not going to seek any sponsorships. I'm not going to do anything fancy. I'm just going to ride for me. And here we are on this podcast. So
that's funny. So you guys have these 2 coveys coming. What's the first trip? You guys got anything planned? Is this also when the wife walks in and then turns right back out again?
Yeah. We spend a little bit of time talking about the trips we want to do.
So much time.
So much
unbelievable amount of time.
When you're based where we are, it's like incredible riding in every direction. Well, except for west, you hit ocean. But every other direction, you're just like endless, amazing riding.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I'm super jealous because when I look at a map, I got 3,000 kilometers of prairies west, and then just, black fly bitten, scrubby forest going east. And then you got to go through the States and right across to get anywhere good. Takes a while from where we are. Like you're at least like a 10 to 8 hour kind of road trip before you get anywhere decent. Unfortunately.
Yeah. We're here. We're at our back doors and we're on dirt and we can connect to anything. We're pretty lucky. One of the big trips we talked about for the summer though is Bella Coola, which is on the mainland. And we take the ferry over to Vancouver, work our way up through like Squamish, Whistler, Pemberton off road, keep going up towards William Lake, and then cut across to Bella Coola, explore around there, spend as much time off road as possible. And then the cool part about Bella Coola is there's a ferry from there to the North Island. So if we're kind of just like done with riding, we can jump on that ferry, land in Port Hardy, take dirt all the way back here to the South Island, or we can backtrack the way we came. And I've already been scouting it out. There's like a totally different dirt route all the way home we can take.
Nice.
So it's kind of a cool destination where we have 2 options home, depending on how much more riding we want to do.
So one thing I wouldn't mind, I wanted to ask you guys. So my buddy who was living out in Victoria before, like this is years ago. This is probably about like maybe, I don't know, 15 plus years ago. Back then, though, they would always run into issues with the logging companies kind of cutting off what should be public access roads. And I'm just wondering if you guys still run into that sort of thing. Like they'll just bang up a gate and lock it out, and you're kind of like, "Fuck, man, this used to be like a normal road. What's going on?" They still do that sort of thing, or is?
Oh yeah, that's a thing. It's a bit of a game of cat and mouse. Of they'll put the gate up, and somebody will build a trail around or bring some tools and adjust the gate.
Yeah, right. So nothing's changed.
Nothing's changed there, but I just look at it as part of the adventure.
Right.
And, like those are my favorite moments of when you get to that gate or you get to a washout, something you can't get through. And you got to stop and pull the maps out and go, okay, how are we going to get around this? And that's one of the, like, to me, adventure riding is just starting to turn into this, like, download a route from the internet and go follow it. But is it truly adventure? Like, that's like hitting those gates, hitting those spots you can't get to is to me when things get exciting.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I'm not going to lie, though, also frustrating.
Yeah, no, I hear you. We, I can't agree. I couldn't agree more with that sentiment about, the adventure starts when you start hitting adversity, and you kind of have to overcome it a little bit. It sucks at the moment, but when you get through it, it feels like $1 million. And it's the points. Those are the parts you remember of your big trip. I mean, case in point for me and my buddy Jay, who would have been on this podcast, but he is flying to Belize. He was on a week-long snowbiking trip, and then he came home, and his wife's like, "No, we're going to Belize for a week. You got to go. No, we're going." So
yeah, I feel real bad for him.
Yeah,
yeah,
totally.
We'll shed a tear. We'll shed a tear later in private.
Yeah. But me and him rode from Barry's Bay all the way down to the tip of Baja on our 1090s a couple years ago, and yeah, man, like we got to I won't bore you with the U.S. details. It was pretty, like, until we hit New Mexico, it was like just straight interstate most of the time. But once we got into Baja, like all off road, and we were following all sorts of trails that, friends of ours were giving, hey, you got to check out this trail, you got to check that out. And so we pieced something together, and we came across this washout. Like, there was this little arroyo, and they had bad rains that winter. And it had, like, there used to be a concrete bridge, which we found like 400 meters downrange, highly displaced from where it was before, and like no way to get across. And it was like, fuck, what do we do? And we had come down this nasty, loose, sandy hill, and with big adventure bikes, we're like, I'm not riding up that hill that we just came down. So we got to find a way across this river. And we did. It was awesome. It was one of our best days on the trip. But yeah, man, like those challenges, those unexpected challenges are what it's all about, for sure.
Yeah, totally agree. It's the best part. It's kind of why we ride.
Yeah.
Have you guys been down south to the Baja or like anywhere down California way?
Not for riding.
And not I.
Yeah.
We were considering potentially heading down south this summer as part of a few trips, but
I got to do it, man. You guys are on the right side of the country for that.
Yeah.
Future, perhaps.
Yeah. Originally, this summer, we were talking about doing the Washington BDR down to Oregon BDR, which I've ridden chunks of, and then come back up the Idaho BDR. But
Nice.
with the dollar right now, it's just a pretty expensive trip. So that's kind of when we refocused on what can we do and stay in Canada.
Yeah, no,
There's a lot of mainland riding that I have yet to do, because I typically either stay on the island or do head down towards Washington to ride.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like you guys have a ton of stuff to explore locally, so that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's been cool showing Colin around the very local trails, and it feels like every ride we go out, just a little day ride or afternoon cruise around here, and we're 20 minutes from my house, and I'm like, I've actually never been down this road. Like that's just how many logging roads we have out here. Just within 20 minutes of the house, there's stuff that's still new to me. So, but Colin's like, how have you never been here? It's so close. And I'm like, because there's like 8 million other roads.
Yeah, we have. So how I kind of started doing our OVR events was I was bored at work, this job I had, and I was watching Dakar Rally and was getting, in my head, I was like, oh, what if we kind of figured out some place to ride where we could kind of create a road book rally of some, like a little route, and you follow a road book. And I started looking on Google Maps, and unbeknownst, like Algonquin Park, unbeknownst to many people, there's heavy logging in there, even though it's a hugely protected park. But as a consequence, there's epic dirt roads throughout that entire park. So I made all these GPS tracks for all these little things, and I recruited a bunch of friends. I said, we're going to go ride this. And everyone's like, you can ride in there? And I'm like, oh yeah, for sure. You got to see all these roads, dude. But no, you're not allowed to ride in there. They stop you right at the gate. But it's like, if you look on satellite, like, it's insane how much stuff is in there, and there's nobody in there. There's just people backpacking in like
It's really
40.
too bad. And it's like same with here with the gates. It's like logging allows us to do what we want to do, to recreate, but it becomes that cat and mouse game of keeping us out. And it makes no sense to me. Like there's so much value in these logging roads for recreation, whether it's riding them on a vehicle of your choice or accessing a lake. And I can't understand why there's so much pressure to keep people out of all these areas, especially out here where it's public land, or in Algonquin Park, is also public land. It should be fair game. The damage is already done from the logging and from the road going in.
It's a good point.
Isn't causing any more.
Yeah, like an adventure bike or a dirt bike isn't gonna rip up the road any more than a logging truck would. To your point, I think it's more. I don't think it comes from the logging side of things. I think it comes more from the park trying to keep it as pristine as possible, even though they let big semis full of chopped down trees run through there. But they don't want the dirt bikers in there. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But
and that's one of the reasons I end up in Washington for riding so much, is it does seem like they understand it a bit better there. They build their logging roads so they all loop back and they web. So even if you hit down trees or a washout, you're like, oh, we just go like 2 kilometers back and we can get around this and into the next section. And it's like the roads there seem like they're building them with recreation in mind, and the way they connect them all back versus here it's a lot of dead end spurs.
Yeah,
it's just like, this is they get it.
Yeah, for sure. I've had some conversations with some of our American friends about how their park systems do that. Like, and it varies from state to state, but I was surprised at how inclusive most of these places were. It's like, oh yeah, you can ride in there, man. You can take your ATV, your bike, whatever. They love, you're totally allowed. Like it's freedom, like it's the US. And I was like, oh geez, if you did that in Algonquin Park, you'd probably go to jail.
Yeah. I think part of it is riding's a lot bigger culture in the US. Here it's still kind of the fray. But
for sure. But well, that's cool, man. I was looking at again your the journal on your site. So you guys got kind of like a log of some of the trips you guys have done. What are some of your favorite areas, like your go-to areas? Like if people come to you and go, like, hey man, like what's a good spot to ride? Like what are the you don't want to miss areas that you've been to so far?
Ooh, listen, it's all still so new. Like like John says, he's out here, and every time he goes out, there's something new and incredible. And like I don't know, you just get out here, like just ride out here, and you're gonna have a good time if you're not from here. But as far as what not to miss specifically, I'll force that back over to John. Everybody.
Yeah, in terms of like, I don't know, miss the cities. They're kind of boring. Get out here in the woods. But like, obviously I have a huge passion for the area I live and showing people the trails around Port Renfrew. We do lack single track. That's the one thing that's a bit of a bummer out here, is it's mostly logging roads. But we're in like the only tempered rainforest in the world, and the winter riding is insane. It's almost like the rainforest is more alive in the winter, and you're just riding and there's waterfalls coming from everywhere, if you can see them through your fogged up wet goggles. But pretty special out here. And the trees, if guys just come out and they want to ride around here, I kind of got this loop in my mind that I take them on that hits up all of the biggest trees in the area. And it's kind of fun. It's a chill, cruisy little day ride, and you stop a whole bunch and chat and check out some of the most amazing trees. And like the world's largest Douglas fir is on that route, and just some incredible forest.
How big is the world's biggest Douglas fir?
Well, my measuring tape wasn't big enough, but
you'll throw out your back trying to look up. Like,
it's
crazy.
It's insane. I don't know what the numbers are. That's a question for Google. It'll be on there. Red Creek Fir is what it's called, which is a 20-minute ride down a dirt road from here. Just beautiful. So that gets hit. There's the Walbrown Valley that I took Colin to. That same thing, big trees, waterfalls. These awesome boardwalks, great spot for a swim. There's just so many routes. Last summer, Colin and I did a trip off-road from Port Renfrew to Tofino, which Colin did a YouTube video on it, and that's such an epic route, and one that not many people talk about, and we didn't see any other riders while we were on this route. And that's one on I think on the blog, I actually put a link to the route, and there's the YouTube video on the channel about it too, which we've had a few people, once that video went live, send us messages being like, you got to send us that route. It looks great. So yeah, I don't know. It's like there's so much incredible scenery around here. It's like, I don't know, just anywhere on the island.
So would you guys consider yourselves kind of like ADV ambassadors of a sort for like BC riding or riding out on the islands right now? Because it's kind of what I'm hearing. It's like you guys are kind of getting out there, you're putting stuff together, you're making great content, you're attracting, you're kind of getting people's interests. I mean, I saw something crazy. I'm pretty sure I saw that. Didn't one of your videos get like an insane amount of hits on Instagram? Like,
yeah, we had one of the well, actually the very first David Attenborough AI narrated reel I did hit 1 million views.
Right. Yeah. 1 million.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. I don't even know. It just happened. There wasn't really a plan. I just kind of like threw it together and was like, oh, this is kind of funny. I'll put it online. And that's like, things really started moving because of that. And quick growth, lots of comments. I mean, that's the video that you found us with. And that was just like me sitting on the couch bored, going through old footage, being like, how do I use this old footage and make something funny?
That's hilarious.
And,
so the narration is AI generated?
Yeah, that's definitely not either of our voices. So, although Colin is a very talented narrator who did narrate the Randy Myth Meets Machine video.
Is that who's behind you with the helmet on?
Yeah, that's Randy's head.
So tell us about Randy, because he makes an appearance in a lot of your videos. Well, not a lot, but some of them.
Yeah. Well,
Randy is one of those characters that just kind of happened. But we're so glad that he did. A motorcycle riding Sasquatch. And like when you created the logo for Ragged Road's Moto, you knew you wanted to make the Sasquatch in it, but I don't think you intended to actually, normally we try and play along like, oh no, Randy's his own person. But I don't think John was planning on buying a full-size Sasquatch costume, a half-face helmet, sunglasses, and riding around on a T7 off-road, right? And I mean, like, you can't see or hear when you're wearing this thing. Like, you've got nothing on underneath because there's no ventilation. Like, it's just a total hazard to do. No, I mean, when you're driving around and in the second person has the camera on and you just see the laughter that and the surprise that people have seeing Randy, it's just worth every second. We were recently at the Victoria screening of the Toronto Motorcycle Film Festival. We were lucky enough to have Myth Meets Machine shown at the Victoria Theatre, and Randy made an appearance at the front door, and it was such a great experience just to again see all that laughter, see all that joy, get a few laughs in the screening. Like, I don't know. I think we like to make people laugh. We like to bring people joy. I think adventure motorcycling is a great way to do that. I think a Sasquatch riding an adventure motorcycle is an even better way to do that. So that's a little bit about Randy.
Yeah. It was never really the plan from the beginning. It just kind of happened. Yeah. My wife somehow let me buy a really expensive Sasquatch costume and destroy it in the mud and dirt, but it's been fun. And
he's awesome, man. When I saw that, I was like, okay, these guys know what's up. This is hilarious. This is the best gag ever.
We still can't believe that the Randy video is not the one that hit the 1 million views.
I think it's
like, I was like, for sure, this is gonna be it. No,
and we have so many scripts of things that Randy could do. The problem we're having right now is like, which one do we pick to do first? And I think we both know which one it's gonna be. But yeah, I think we're both pretty excited to share more of that stuff in this coming year.
Yeah, there's some plans for Randy. It's worth giving the YouTube channel a follow.
Right on, will do. What would it take to get Randy out to Ontario for an OVR event?
Ooh,
a couple plane tickets, a couple bikes. You got that budget, right? No,
or we have to talk to the wife. She controls the budget, but yeah, I'll see what I can do.
Yeah, it's so fun seeing people just light up. Like, you make people's day when you're out riding in Randy, and it's so relieving sometimes in a sport where I think we might take ourselves a little too seriously every now and then, and think we're doing pretty serious stuff. So it's fun to look at the lighter side, which is also kind of where we were going with the David Attenborough reels, poking fun of ourselves, being like, hey, let's not take ourselves too seriously. Like, we're grown up boys that just we ride bicycles.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's funny, like, because of our events, we interact with a lot of the bigger players in the Ontario scene, like the guys that run with KTM and, that put on the Corduroy Enduro, and all the biking associations, like the Bytown Motorcycle Association, the OFTR guys, all those, and they're all doing great work. But yeah, sometimes we have to remind ourselves that we're out there riding bikes to have fun, and that's what it's about.
Yeah, there's a few people in the comments when you go through don't quite realize we're joking around, which I always find pretty funny. It's like, oh yeah, you're one of those guys that I think takes it too seriously.
If you've been personally victimized by John Rathwell, please leave a comment down below.
And we're making fun of ourselves.
Exactly.
Like, all those videos was to make fun of us, and everyone else is just like friendly fire.
Yeah,
they got to deal with it.
I hear you, man. I know a few dudes that would fall into that category for sure. Yeah. There's some there's some interesting cats in the ADV world, 100%.
For sure, as with everywhere, but yeah, we know we might hurt a few feelings, but it's all for good fun, and it's not. Yeah,
we'll make fun of ourselves before anybody else.
Yeah,
it's true.
Hey, man, that's it.
Yeah,
that's it.
We're actually in our upcoming YouTube video that's still a few weeks away. We've gone to the David Attenborough narration for it as well. So we're super. I just got to see a preview of what Colin put together for it, and I can't wait for it to hit YouTube. Maybe we'll get 1 million views on it too.
Maybe, hopefully.
Yeah.
If you're interested, I could send you over a link and.
Yeah, please do.
Throw it out.
So your YouTube channel, what's it called? Is it Ragged Roads Moto? Okay.
Yeah, everything is Ragged Roads Moto.
Right on.
Keeping it.
Yeah,
simple,
no, I wasn't even aware you guys had a YouTube channel, so I'll definitely check that out.
Yeah, Colin's kind of in charge of the YouTube stuff and the expert there, and I stick more to Instagram. So we're always fighting which way to hold the camera. I'm like, no, hold it this way.
Yeah, the argument about 16:9 or 9:16, it's endless.
It's real.
It's so real.
Yeah. Which is it's funny for me going.
I bought a drone just so I can do the different,
just both. Yeah,
different aspects.
When I was shooting as a full-time photographer, I used to hate shooting verticals, and you'd have to for magazine covers, and I just hated it because in my mind, you see wider than high, so why are we taking a photo that's higher than wide? And so it's funny how much I fought against shooting vertical photos, and now I'm just like, well, if you're going to shoot video, it's only worth shooting vertical for Instagram.
Funny how that works out, eh?
Yeah,
indeed.
Yeah, I've changed. I also traditionally hated video and just always wanted to shoot stills, and I kind of stuck out way too long in my photography career of like, I don't do videos, and now here we are doing videos. But a lot of thanks to Colin helping me out and teaching me how to edit and what a video camera is, because I used to just refuse that stuff.
He just can't take credit for anything.
What are you guys using predominantly to shoot your videos?
Well, if you watch Myth Meets Machine, it's shot almost entirely on an Osmo Pocket 3.
Okay.
With a little bit of GoPro Hero 10 B-roll. we've got that. We've got a couple DJI Osmo Action 4 Pros. Is it the 5 Pro? It's the 5 Pro now. I can't keep track of them all. And then a DJI Mini 4 Pro for a drone. That'll be our new drone for this year. So we're really excited to get that up in the air. We've just been using an old Mavic Air. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're all great, and it's more if you're out there content creating, it's more about the story you're telling. It's not necessarily about the quality of the footage or the tool you're using. Mind you, sometimes having the right tool for the job does help a lot once you go to edit it.
Yeah, for sure.
And your Sony that you just picked up?
Oh yeah, we got a Sony camera, A6500. It's an older one, but like they're so small, they're just the perfect, throw it in a bag, take it out, you can beat it up. You haven't just spent like $5,000 on a pro camera that you're gonna do.
That's what I beat up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
a video editing buddy of mine just recommended, like I talk to him all the time. Like, so we was talking about, cameras to use for this podcast that would be better than the thing on this laptop. And just if we have like a static studio, what would be good for that? And I think he recommended a couple different cameras, but that Sony was definitely one of them. It's and for that reason, it's pretty portable. It's does the job. It's pretty versatile. So yeah, man, it's I hear good things about that one for sure.
Yeah, I think for the price, it's one of the best all-around cameras you can get without getting into pro level stuff. So
yeah, for sure. Although it is scary what the cell phones and the little pocket cameras will do. This, like, it's wild.
Yeah. Well, we still use the iPhones quite a bit when we're out on adventures. If something is happening that needs to be captured now, then our defaults grab the iPhone and start recording just to get those moments, because all the other cameras just take more time to get out and get set up. Yeah. And that was one of our big philosophies in terms of filming for Instagram and filming for YouTube, was to really get away from chin mount shots. Just because it feels so overdone, and you watch so many videos on YouTube where it's just 90% chin mount. So we really make the efforts to get off the bike and to get clips of each other, or to get the camera on a tripod and walk back and ride past and walk back again, and get the camera and walk back to your bike. But I think that's one of the things that almost separates what we're doing apart from a lot of other the Moto YouTubers that shoot a lot of chin mount. Is
I have literally thousands of hours of chin mount video that I've never watched again because it puts me to sleep. Because it doesn't capture the, like, when you set up a shot with like you say, like a tripod and a good camera, or even your cell phone, and you set up that shot properly, it's so much more interesting to watch afterwards than a washed out GoPro video of the handlebars jumping up and down for 6 hours.
Yeah, it's crazy how much more time it takes on a ride. Like, all of a sudden, like, if we're filming how like 100 to 150K day off-road is all of a sudden a big full day, versus you don't film in like 3 to 500K, you can push out no problem. But when we go out, the goal is to get the quality shot over the quantity.
So do you guys, that kind of leads me to my next question. Like, when you guys are doing content, are you guys planning that out heavily in advance, or is it more of kind of like on a fly thing?
I don't know if you guys have ever read that childhood book, Something from Nothing, but in my past, it's always been just making something out of nothing planned kind of deal. And that's been very much in contrast to what we're doing now. A lot of the stuff you're going to see, with the exception of the next couple videos, are basically going to be all planned out. There's going to be a lot of time that goes into the scripting and getting the right shots. And like John says, if you want to do that one hill climb and get that one shot of that one hill climb, if you're watching it as a viewer, just remember, we probably walked up that hill like 5 times to get that. So a lot of time, a lot of effort going in to make sure that we're getting stuff that's that shows off the terrain and the beauty properly, tells a good story. We're excited. We're excited to show you guys what we're going to be working on.
Yeah.
The other thing, when you're the rider doing laps of the same section over and over and over, like, oh, do it one more time. Oh, just one more time. And it's just like, Like, oh man, I'm like turning this heavy adventure bike around on a tight trail full of luggage. You're like, come on, man, just get the shot. Let's keep going. It ends up being so much work. And I don't know, I find I get like super hot and sweaty once we start that like lapping the trail over and over. And then every lap I do, I find I ride it worse because I'm like a little more tired and like thinking harder of like, okay, make sure I ride good for the camera. And
I tell him he rides it better every time, just so he keeps going. But yeah, he's catching on.
Yeah. The worst part is I get camera shy. Like my life is behind the back side of the camera. So all of a sudden being on the front side is new. Like in this upcoming video of the Olympic Peninsula, we rode one super sketchy section where it's just sheer single lane, sheer drop. I had the Norden full of luggage.
Like over a landslide is what we were doing.
Yeah, which like I knew it was there. I had ridden it before, but I had ridden it downhill, and it wasn't as bad as going uphill. And like we get to it and we scout it and we make a plan. And I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna go because like when I'm nervous, I just go. And Colin's like, whoa, let me get the drone up. Let me get this. Let me like do a couple test flights of the path, make sure everything's good. And so I'm just sitting on my bike right in front of this, looking at like death to my right. And like, I'm just like, come on, Colin, let's go. Come on. Like
just gyrating, right? Like just starting to levitate almost.
Yeah. And so there's going to be a bit of learning for that for me of being able to wait before some tricky sections before just sending it, which is definitely not my style. I like to just get the scary stuff over with.
Yeah, it's I also don't like to ponder on shit like that. I'll just, better just get it over with.
Yeah. But that one I was definitely not doing twice. Yeah.
But it's funny you were talking about like, setting up a shot and then walking back and grabbing the camera and then like we're having to do the ride by like eight different times. I don't know if you guys ever followed him. Lyndon Poskett had this, you guys know who he is. I loved how he would show how he does this stuff by himself. So not only did he have to set up the shot, but he had to set up the shot of him setting up the shot. So it's like his days must have been hell long. Like on some of those rides.
Huge props to him and all the guys that shoot like that ride solo and get off the bike and make those more cinematic shots. It's insane that they do it. It's, with two of us, which is like, I think for both of us that having two allowed us to make these more cinematic shots because the amount of work it takes to do by yourself. So I know there's guys that do it by themselves and like, hats off. Yeah, hats off to that. That's impressive.
Yeah, we had some, serious delusions of doing something like that on our trip to Baja. We were like, we're going to film it. We got the drone. We got all these cameras. We got our phones. It's going to be amazing. And man, we tried. Like the first day, it was, I think, so we left in October, which wasn't ideal for leaving Canada, but it was raining and probably about 5 degrees all the way through Canada and then down through Pennsylvania. Warmed up slightly, stopped raining after Pennsylvania, but didn't get warm until New Mexico. So it was constantly like this battle of like, okay, we got to make time. So get on the highway. Well, we're not going to film that because that's boring. And then you finally get off road and it's like, hit sections of the BDR and the last thing you're thinking about is stopping and pulling out a camera and setting up a shot. You just want to ride something else besides fucking highway.
Yeah, that's me. I hit dirt and I'm gone. And Colin's like, we gotta film. Like, what? My comms are breaking up. I can't hear you.
Yeah. No, I hear you, man. That's for sure. Like, and so we got to Baja and realized we had filmed next to nothing. And we're like, shit, we should start filming some shit. And so we got a couple really cool things in Baja. Like there's some epic salt flats out by the Pacific side. And it's just another world out there. Some amazing beaches at sunrise, shit like that. Like some really cool stuff.
Nice.
Yeah. Still have to put all that together. It's been 2.5 years, but I'll get to it one day.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's like, for us, we're very realistic about like, if it's a filming trip, the goal is going to be sitting in that 100 to 150 kilometers a day, which for folks that just ride, they're like, you're only doing 100K today. Like that's nothing. I'm doing 3 or 4 times that. And it's like, but filming and we're pretty like, we get up pretty early and we go and we ride all day and we disperse camp 99% of the time. So it's not like we're like, okay, like got time to go find a motel. Like it's full days when we're riding, and that like 150K on a filming day is a big day. But there does come times where it's like, okay, let's put the cameras away and boogie home. It's done.
Yeah.
So.
And
cool,
one
man.
of the things
you guys are doing a bang up job. I'll be spending some time on the YouTube in the next couple of days, checking out all your videos for sure.
That's just getting started. There's gonna be some good stuff coming.
Yeah, not a whole lot up on there for Ragged Roads right now. I've unfortunately been away in the Arctic working, so I'm dealing with a backlog of things. But we're getting there.
You got to juggle that day job with this stuff for sure.
That's right.
Yeah, maybe one day it'll pay for itself, but I think that's a ways away.
That's the dream, man. That's the dream.
That's the dream. Yeah.
Right
or
on.
a wife that just supports us, but yeah, that's also probably years away.
I kind of like. I like to think I have that, but then sometimes I get yelled at, so it's not really not really supporting.
She did let us buy Randy.
Pretty good.
And she's an auditor, so it's not like I can like sneak things past her. It's like the second something happens on the credit card, she's like, what's this? So there's no sneaking stuff past an auditor.
Well, hey man, at least your books are going to be like tight. You don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, does a car mechanic have a perfectly good running car?
Yeah. Right, you do everybody else's stuff before you do your own. I get it.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Right on. So what? So you guys are going to be creating some content. How's the shop going? Like, is that getting some traction? Like people are finding it and digging what you guys are putting out there.
Yeah, it's there. We've had, especially with the recent Instagram videos doing so well, we've had a lot of people being like, "Hey, how do I support you guys?" And I was just send them to the shop, grab a T-shirt or grab a hat, and that's something we hope will grow. It's not our main focus. It's just something that we decided to throw up, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, hopefully over the next few years that'll grow and help fund some of our adventures. We're hoping to push the crush caps pretty hard and sell those just because they're so awesome. Once you go on an adventure with a crush cap, you'll never take another hat with you. And
yeah, I've ruined many hats from you strap it to the back of your backpack or whatever, and then it's just completely shit canned after like a hardcore ride. So yeah.
For everyone that buys one, it's just like, oh, why isn't this a thing? And I'm like, well, it is.
It is now.
Yeah.
Right on. I'll have to check it out.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to get one for myself. Cool, man. Anything else you guys want to talk about while we have you here?
Do we tell them a little bit about maybe the project for September?
Yeah, that'd be a good one to touch on.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to go somewhere really creepy with how you're looking at me. I was like, oh, I don't know what story you want to get into.
A lot of heavy eye contact.
Yeah,
over here.
that was especially the way you said it. I was like,
So much like John said earlier, adventure motorcycling seems to have become, at least in part, this game of download the GPX track, follow the track. And don't get me wrong, there's like some awesome rides. It's wicked. You see some incredible scenery, but we really want to get back into the getting lost part of it and
the adventure part.
Yeah, the adventure. We don't know where we're going to end up. So that's why we've come up with this idea called Dartboard ADV. And the plan is to start filming in September, and we're going to take a map of Vancouver Island.
A really big one.
Like a really
bigger than my arms, I think.
Yeah, Backroad Mapbooks is probably going to hook us up with one that's pretty
Nice.
awesome. And we're going to throw some darts at it, and we're going to go where the darts land.
With the goal of riding off road as much as possible to where that dart lands.
So what, like, have you guys worked out like a bit of a rule set for this dartboard game? Because like, what if it lands in the middle of a lake, or like on the top of a mountain, or somewhere where like the bike's not going to go?
Yeah, discuss this, and it might be the goal just to get as close to the point as we can possibly get a bike. Colin wants to be like, no, we're getting to that point, even if it's like hiking or swimming.
I think we can do it. Like between paddle boards and strapping hiking gear to the back of our bikes, I think we can get. Now, mind you,
okay,
you're going to strap a paddleboard. You're going to strap a paddleboard to your bike.
Why not? I'll to my back
or to your deck. Okay.
I'm just not to slow John out, but I'm a little bit younger than John, so I'm
he's a little more ambitious.
Break myself.
I'm the old cranky one that's like, nah, that's too much work.
So those fine details have yet to be sorted.
Yeah, that'll end up being. We're gonna throw 6 darts. Oh, 6 darts. I can count. In 6 locations and make a 6-part YouTube series called Dartboard ADV for that. And yeah, that's gonna be one that's not too scripted. We want to capture those raw moments of getting to the gates that we talked about and figuring out the way around it, and just hopefully find some dirt roads that we've never been on and never been to, and hopefully find some dirt roads that connect. But it will be, the main objective is dirt from here to that dart as much as possible.
That's awesome.
It's going to be a great time.
That's a very cool idea.
Yeah.
Go either way.
There will be some gates involved. I can guarantee that.
Yeah, man. But no, I love that idea. I mean, my buddy Jay, so he runs the resort that we do our events out of up in Barry's Bay, and he's got himself a sweet little setup with. So he kind of a sort of a sponsored rider. So a local Toronto shop has given him an ambassador ride for Aprila. So he rides an Aprila Touareg 660 or 600 or whatever it is.
I think
it's a mint bike. Yeah, it's an amazing bike. So he's always ripping. He's always done this on his bikes. Like he'll get sick of people and then just piss off on his bike and just go explore in the region, which is how we basically come to find all these amazing spots to ride ADV bikes, because he'll just go off on a ride and be like, "Hey man, I found this spot. We should put it on the event." Blah, blah, blah. So I love that idea though, because like you say, it's like, yeah, okay, you followed a GPS track, amazing. Got anything else?
And it just seems like that's becoming more and more of the thing, is just people wanting to follow this track and not trying to take anything away from that, from BDRs and from like the epic GPS routes group that's out here. But to me, adventure just so much more than following a known route.
Yeah, well, I don't know how old you guys are, but I used to drive around in a standard Toyota Tercel with a map on my lap.
My man.
Navigate, like back in the day. Like that's how you found how to get from point A to point B, be it through downtown Toronto or in the sticks, trying to find a bush party, like wherever. Like, here's where it is. Find it. And then you would just be on the map and you'd be like, hey, I got to go to this street over here. And then, yeah, man. So we've had a bit of that conversation of, do we do 1 or 2 of these legs just with paper maps, just to go old school? Yeah,
like leave the phones behind and the GPSs behind, and see if we can connect a route to the wherever the dart lands with just paper. We'll be so lost. I went to school for maps.
Making them, not reading them.
Yeah, making them. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how to read them, but I can make a map.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then I can complain about how the other person made the map all wrong. Totally. I'm pretty good at that. Yeah. Which when you know all the mapping rules, that's all you do when you look at a map. It's like, why did they do this?
So with your map making background, did that put you in contact with BDR guys at all, or like the Backroads Map Book guys? Like, did you guys connect in that way, or was it just like they heard what you guys were doing and they're going to hook you up with a map?
The Backroad Maps connection actually came from Colin, from his Cabot Trail routes.
Okay. Yeah, so they were kind enough to supply like a whole bunch of paper maps, and just a nice company to work with and deal with. And so we reached out with this idea, and they seem eager to help out. So now we're excited to work with them and see what we can create together.
Yeah, and they're a rad Canadian company based over around Vancouver, so they're actually pretty close to us. And
Cool.
It should be an exciting little partnership, and we're hoping to bring on a few more partners as well to help fund that project. A slow go for that right now.
Yeah, well, they just released like a whole new kind of like layer to their map base. I just saw like a post about it the other day. It looks pretty cool, so I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah, they've really been pushing their app over the last few years, and I think it might start to become the go-to for Canadian adventure riders.
Well, I mean, I've been using Gaia Maps. Just like we use it when we're cutting single track. It for whatever reason, the phone will track us better than the GPSs will, and so we'll get a cleaner route. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, you can get a back roads layer to that.
Yeah, you can in Gaia.
Yeah,
they have it.
Yeah, right. I'm looking at it now. Yeah, and so, I mean, cell phones they've come a long way, man. Like 8-9 years ago, that was not anywhere on the horizon at all.
Yeah,
and now
it's for
like,
both of us. That's our main form of navigation in the bush is our phones with apps. I guess Colin still actually carries an old Garmin GPS
Map 78S. I think it's for boats, but it's waterproof, and I've beat the crap out of it over the last 10 years, and it's still alive. So it comes with us too.
Yeah, I question why he brings it. I'm like, these apps are so good now. And he's like, well, what about when your phone dies? I'm like, your GPS is on batteries too, man.
Yeah, but it's double A's. I can carry lots of double A's.
Yeah, we ran both on our trip down south. We ran phone all through the States because it was super easy. And then we had a map set that we bought for Baja that gave us a topo map to put on our Garmin's, because I wasn't sure what the cell reception was going to be on the peninsula down there, but it turned out it was pretty good.
Yeah. For if you're riding out here using your phone, you gotta download that data before you get out in the woods, because you're 5 minutes out of town, your cell service is gone.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, no, that's cool, man. Looking forward to seeing that put together. Dartboard ADV.
Yeah,
you guys
really
might be starting
excited.
a trend. I'm gonna have to be telling people about this, and everyone's gonna be like, "That's a really good idea. We should do that."
Yeah,
the clock's ticking.
It's our idea first. We can trademark, copyright, all that stuff. Right? We have really good lawyers.
Yeah, super good lawyers. He's sitting behind us.
Lawyers. Yeah, exactly. You don't want to mess with him.
Yeah, he'll fuck you up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You don't want his foot where you...
It's true.
Yeah.
Have you seen those fingers? Nasty. If you haven't, go watch the video.
They smell awful.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, man. When you are riding in that suit, it is so hot.
I bet.
It's insane. Yeah.
Like, what's it made out of? Is it like just pure polyurethane?
Sasquatch fur. Full Sasquatch fur. Yeah. I don't know, but it is. You're not running cold, that's for sure.
It can be 5 degrees outside, and you can be wearing that in underwear, and like you'll be warm riding at like 60 on the road. Like it's crazy.
Yeah. They should actually make motorcycle jackets out of it. We'd never go cold again.
I was just gonna say, maybe you guys have hit on something here. Like you don't need Gore-Tex.
Trademark, copyright, good lawyers. Yeah, that's our idea.
Right on. The other thing I wanted to ask you guys about, I did see the article that you guys put on your journal about mental health, and that was a really cool little piece you guys did. What was the genesis of that? Like, what made you guys think of doing something like that?
I'll start off, John. Okay, so
this is where we're going to start crying.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. It's possible. Who knows? So, I think we both have a pretty significant background in terms of dealing with PTSD and mental health disorders. I'm a paramedic, and kind of naturally, as being part of that whole system, it's something that develops over time. Motorcycles when you hit those lows that are just really low, and the only thing that's getting you out of bed is just the chance to like get out on your bike and just enter that flow state, and get away from it all. It was, yeah, they've been really important to my mental health. And then meeting like-minded people like John, who've been through similar things, and have a similar passion for it. Yeah, I think there's a certainly a positive mental health effect to be had from motorcycling as a sport and as a leisure activity. I think we should be enabling more people to get out and experience that.
Yeah, there is an aspect of Reggae Roads where we do want to touch on mental health and normalize these conversations, especially with men, which is what most ADV riders are. We don't know exactly how we want to tie in the mental health aspect in the end, but it is something that's important for both of us, and it's something that really helped grow our friendship in a way. We both spent significant time in therapy, and one thing that we both learned is when someone's talking to you about what they're going through, not to say like, oh, I understand, I've been there too. And then Colin and I would share stories, and it'd be like the only thing we could say back to each other, and both of us are being like, I know I'm not supposed to say this, but yeah, that's exactly where I've been, or that's like exactly how I felt at that time. And so that really almost was the base of our friendship, coming from low spots for both of us, and being able to get out on the bikes or motivate each other to get out on the bikes when one of us is down has been pretty key, and something I think we both help each other with. And yeah, I think we both still have some healing and some work to be done, but it all helps every time we get out on the bikes and get out on an adventure or camp in some beautiful spot.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more on that mental health kind of, what do you call it, outlet when it comes to riding. I mean, I kind of touched on it earlier, but my buddy Jay, he's runs our resort, and you can probably imagine how sick of people he gets at the end of the year, mm-hmm. And it's a busy place. So that's his release valve is, and he, his family understands that. So he'll have a hard day, and he'll just go out on the bike and be by himself for a little bit and enjoy that ride, or we'll get together and we'll cut some trail, and we'll just get out there, right? And yeah, it's just therapeutic for sure. But I applaud you guys for touching on that. It's a big deal, and I think more people probably should be talking about it for sure.
Yeah, and I just hope as time goes on, men talking about how they're feeling and what's going on can be something that's less taboo and more normal, and in any setting, whether it's over the comms while you're riding, or at a campsite, or just at a cafe on a weekend at home. Like it's something that needs to become normal.
Yeah.
Right on, man. Listen, we've been at it for just over an hour. I thank you guys for your time. It's been awesome to sit down and chat with you guys. I love what you're doing. Keep doing it, please. It's great stuff. Your content's awesome.
Thank you.
So I hope more people find you guys. And I don't know. I would love to get out there and ride some of the stuff you guys have. So I don't know. Maybe we can do like a cross post, get you guys out to OVR, and we'll come out there, and I don't know, we'll figure something out.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah, let's just make it happen. We can just pick you up at the Victoria Airport. We're running 3 bikes for the summer, so if you're okay with a Cove or a T7, then we got a spare bike for you. And
if someone's going to let me ride a bike, I don't care what it is.
One catch.
The one catch is you'll probably end up moving here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he'll tell you about that.
Truth be told, I spend my downtime at the office in my day job. Like, I'm a realtor.ca junkie, and I'm consistently playing the where would I move game. And then I'll look at, like, I'll zoom right out and I'll be like, hey, what's this province look like? What's that? And I often land on the interior of BC just because house prices are not as insane as, coastal regions. But yeah, man, I would, if I could figure out the bill payment schedule out there, I would consider it for sure. It's mint, beautiful area.
Year-round riding, no mosquitoes.
The second one is a
Mosquitoes?
lie. The second
No
one is a
mosquitoes.
lie. He's
The
lying. to
mosquitoes
you.
can't climb mountains.
There's definitely mosquitoes here.
Okay, compared to like the Ottawa Valley, there's no mosquitoes.
Touche.
You know what? There's been some years where like the black flies come out in the spring and the mosquitoes are they're relentless. And there's been other years where they're just not around. It's weird. Like last year, once like end of July, August hit, like, there's no bugs. They were gone. There were a few, but not crazy.
It's one thing I remember about Nova Scotia, the mosquitoes just being insane everywhere. And I would just ride around being like, please don't get a flat. Please don't get a flat. Please don't get a flat. And I'm pretty good at getting flats.
That's like us in springtime when we're doing like trail scouting for our events, like bug nets over our heads, tied off real tight around the neck, and yeah. But
yeah, you don't need bug jackets out here. The bugs never get that bad. So
sounds like
you're around ratting, no mosquitoes.
Very few mosquitoes.
No mosquitoes.
Very few mosquitoes.
Right on.
There might be an argument about that in the Tofino YouTube video.
There's definitely an argument about that.
I'm sticking to it though. There's no mosquitoes here.
Awesome. All right, man. Thank you for the time, guys. Much appreciated. And yeah, let's keep in contact, and maybe we'll do this again with my buddy Jay. He's a pretty funny guy. So he was pretty bummed that he wasn't going to be able to come on tonight because I've been sending him all your stuff, and he thinks it's pretty rad as well. So.
Let's do it in person at a campfire.
We do have a rig. We have our DJI mics, and we have all sorts of shit. So
all right, that's the plan. Let's do it. Next one's in the middle of a rad adventure, either in the Ottawa Valley or Vancouver Island.
Right on, man. Cool.
Sweet.
All right,
Thanks so much for having us, John.
Yeah.
Yep. We'll be in touch.
Yeah, thank you.